There are moments in life when you feel like God's blessings are too far away, so far away that it seems they will never reach you. You look around and everyone is prospering. Everyone is being blessed, except you. You walk into church, stare at the altar, and see testimonies being proclaimed, people glorifying the name of God, and inside you cry out, "My God, when will it be my turn? When will I give my testimony? When will I glorify your name?" And the pain tightens, because it is not just about seeing the righteous prosper. It is about looking at the wicked, those who betray, deceive, lie, steal, and still remain prosperous. You feel that sharp pain in your chest. Where is my God? Where is the justice? It is the pain of counting coins, looking at your bank balance, and realizing you cannot finish paying your bills. And then the conflict arises. Am I really in the center of God's will? Will the blessings really reach me? Or are they too far away? But Asaph's story reminds us. He lived through this pain too. He questioned too. He doubted too, until God removed the blinders from his eyes. And it is at this point, in this moment of conflict, pain, and doubt, that you are about to discover something powerful. You are going to see how Asaph faced this pain, how he poured out his soul before God, and how a sincere prayer transformed him within, strengthened his soul, and made him finally see the blessings that were meant for him. It is this prayer, the same prayer that changed Asaph's life, and when you discover it, you will realize that God can also remove the blinders from your eyes and reveal the path he has for you. The Bible shows that Asaph was a Levite, set apart to minister before God in the time of King David. He was not just any man among the people. Asaph served in worship, in praise, and in ministry before the ark of the Lord. In addition, his name became linked to several psalms, because what he sang also carried teaching, prayer, and spiritual truth. And that is what makes this story so powerful. Even as a man of worship, close to God's presence, Asaph also faced a deep crisis in his soul, when comparison wounds the soul. Asaph does not begin this psalm by speaking of victory. He begins by exposing a wound that many people try to hide. As he looks around, he sees wicked people living in apparent peace, prospering, growing, and it deeply stirs his inner being. The text shows that his feet almost slipped because his soul began to lose its balance in the face of what his eyes were seeing. In Psalm 73, 2-12, Asaph opens his heart and shows that even a man of faith can feel shaken when injustice seems to be winning. This biblical story connects with the reality of many people today. A person prays, tries to do what is right, fights in silence, takes care of their own life like someone who waters a plant every day, but then suddenly looks to the side and sees the neighbor's garden blooming first. That is when comparison begins to wound the soul, because it makes it seem as though faithfulness is not worth it and that God is being better to others. But the problem does not begin on the outside. It begins on the inside, when a weary heart starts interpreting life only by what it sees. And when the soul reaches that point, what can you do so you do not collapse inside? The sincere prayer. In Psalm 73, 13-16, Asaph turns his pain into an honest prayer before God. Instead of hiding what he was feeling, he opens his soul and practically says, "Lord, I have been trying to remain pure. I have been seeking to live the right way. But I am hurting inside as I watch the wicked prosper while I suffer. My mind is tired. My heart is confused. And on my own, I cannot understand this." The Bible does not record this prayer as a polished speech, but as the sincere pouring out of someone who can no longer keep up a spiritual appearance. Asaph did not cover up the pain. He brought to God the very confusion that was burning inside him. That is what makes this prayer so relevant even today. Asaph teaches that true prayer is not about speaking beautifully. It is about speaking the truth before God. There are people who think they can only pray when they are strong. But Asaph shows that the deepest prayer is often born precisely when the soul is weary. It is like someone standing before God and saying, "I do not understand any of this, but I also do not want to walk away from you." This is the prayer of someone who is wounded, but still chooses to remain. And it was exactly when Asaph stepped out of comparison and entered the presence of God that his vision began to change. But what happened when he entered the sanctuary? The turning point in his presence. In Psalm 73:17, the most important turning point in Asaph's soul takes place. The text shows that everything began to change when he entered the sanctuary of God. Up to that moment, Asaph had been seeing life only through pain, comparison, and the apparent advantage of the wicked. His vision was wounded, weary, and confused. But in the presence of God, what had seemed incomprehensible began to take on a different meaning. The environment did not change first. His vision changed first. It was in the sanctuary that Asaph stopped looking only at the momentary shine of the earth and began to see more clearly what his natural eyes could not perceive. This part speaks directly to our inner being when we are emotionally exhausted, because it shows that the presence of God does not only change feelings, it corrects the vision of the soul. It is like someone looking through a fogged-up window, trying to understand the landscape, until that window is finally wiped clean. The problem was real. The pain was also real. But the way of seeing everything was distorted by the weariness of the heart. When Asaph enters the presence, he does not receive only comfort. He receives perspective. And when the vision changes, even the prayer changes with it. But what was it that Asaph understood there that completely transformed the way he spoke with God? Not everything that looks like a blessing is a blessing. In Psalm 73:18-20, Asaph understands something that deeply changes his prayer and the way he sees life. In the presence of God, he realizes that the prosperity of the wicked, which had once seemed enviable, was actually fragile, unstable, and temporary. What had looked firm from a distance was slippery up close. The shine that had wounded his soul so deeply was not a sign of spiritual security, but of something temporary, without roots and without eternity. Asaph understands that not everything that looks like growth is a blessing, and not everything that looks like an advantage is God's approval. There are paths that look impressive on the outside, but are already falling apart on the inside. This is a truth that we sometimes do not want to see, because many people suffer by comparing their delay to the ease of others. But Asaph shows that not every ease is favor, not every shine is God's care, and not every visible success carries true peace. It is like seeing a house lit up on the outside, beautiful from a distance, but with its structure compromised on the inside. Those who look from afar admire it, but those who truly see can recognize the danger. That is what happened with Asaph. God not only corrected what he was seeing in others, but also began to reveal what was happening inside him. And after understanding this, what did Asaph begin to see in his own heart? The heart also needs to be healed. In Psalm 73:21-22, Asaph stops looking only at what was happening around him and begins to recognize what all of it had produced inside him. He admits that his heart had become filled with bitterness and that, because of pain and comparison, his soul had been wounded from within. Asaph realizes that he was not only confused, he was also hardened, resentful, and spiritually worn down. His prayer begins to go deeper because now he is no longer just describing the prosperity of the wicked, but honestly facing the condition of his own heart. He acknowledges before God that he had reacted like someone without understanding, overwhelmed by the pain of the moment. Waiting does not only wear you down on the outside, it affects you on the inside. Sometimes, without realizing it, your heart starts becoming heavy, hard, bitter. You keep living, you keep trying, you even keep talking to God, but it is no longer with the same lightness as before. It is like land that has gone too long without rain. It starts cracking little by little. Asaph understood that the problem was not only what he was seeing in others, but what all of it was causing within him. But how does the prayer of someone who begins to see clearly again end? God is the portion. In Psalm 73, 23-28, Asaph ends the prayer in a very different place from where he began. He began wounded by comparison, weary inside, and confused by the apparent prosperity of the wicked. But now, after entering the presence of God, he understands that the greatest blessing was not having the lives of others, nor receiving immediate answers, nor seeing everything change all at once. The greatest blessing was continuing to remain close to God. Asaph realizes that even when his soul failed, God kept holding his hand. And then his prayer reaches this point of surrender. Whom have I in heaven but you? And on earth there is nothing I desire more than to be with you. Here, his soul returns to the right place.
And maybe that is what you also need to remember. Before changing the situation, God often begins by healing your vision. Before answering everything, He deals with your heart. Before opening the door, He teaches you to remain. The first miracle is not always on the outside. Sometimes the first miracle happens inside you, when your soul stops chasing what shines and begins resting again in what is eternal. Asaph understood that losing everything would be painful, but losing the presence of God would be far worse. And when you understand that, prayer is no longer born out of comparison, but out of trust. And how do you pray when God seems silent? Final prayer. Lord, I confess that many times my heart was wounded when I looked at the lives of others and compared them to my own. There were moments when I felt tired, confused, and even wronged, because it seemed like I was trying to do what was right, while others prospered without caring about you. Just like Asaph, I too almost lost my balance because of what my eyes saw. But today, I do not want to keep feeding comparison, bitterness, and weariness inside me. I want to open my heart before you sincerely and give you everything that has been weighing down my soul. Heal, Lord, both my vision and my heart. Remove from me this silent pain, this accumulated weariness, and everything that has become hardened inside me throughout the waiting. Teach me not to call a blessing what only looks beautiful on the outside, and help me remember that not every ease comes from you. Hold my hand as you held Asaph's hand. Even when I do not understand the process, even when I do not see an immediate answer, I want to remain close to you. May my greatest blessing not be an open door, nor an outward change, but your presence with me. You are my portion, Teos, my strength and my refuge. In Jesus' name, Amen. And if this message spoke to you, write down below. Heal, Lord, both my vision and my heart. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell, because it doesn't end here. There are many stories on this channel to inspire you, teach you, strengthen you, and remind you that God is still working even through the processes you still do not understand.